So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our video of Mars in the second house as your Atmakaraka, which is the planet with the highest degree, where Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are not calculated, Rahu, Ketu are not calculated. Okay. So even your Mars can be at 15 degrees and it could be the Atmakaraka because the rest of the planets are below 15 degrees. And if you do not know which planet is your Atmakaraka, along with all the other 7 Karakas, you can go to Astrology.com here under top section. And option 6 will give you the report along with all the other options beyond number 6. Okay, and remember, I uploaded the Scorpio blank chart predictions also on Maghabit Astrology Academy, along with their age activation techniques, which is brilliant. So, when Mars is in the second house as the Atmakaraka, first thing that you will see that this person has to take on the responsibility of the family and the finance and the money. Like before, this person likes to do something for themselves, and this is really, you will see the pure maturity of Atmakaraka really seen when a person is an adult, like especially beyond 28th year. Even though Mars matures at 28, okay, that is also actually the real true adult age for humans. Not 19, 21, 18, 25, it's actually 28. From that moment onwards, you start to really see and resonate with this Atmakaraka Mars, and the more it goes beyond in the 30s, that's when it really comes out. Because whenever this person wants to get something for themselves, attain something for themselves, some other need has to be fulfilled first. Meaning you have to somehow take care of the family first before you spend money somewhere else. Usually what also happens is many a times people will come to you for financial help. And depending upon how Mars is placed, yes, taking care of those people can be unethical, not good for them. But if Mars is in a position, actually a strong position, then you know the people who come to you for help, you're going to have to help them. Okay, that becomes the obligation, because here the Atmakaraka has to learn lessons. That's why it's the Atmakaraka. It is, the soul is here to burn certain karmas that it has taken on from past few lives. It's the accumulation of those lives and those actions that have given this Mars that full concentrated energy. And especially one of the biggest things for this Mars is to protect the family and children. Like you will see with this Mars as the Atmakaraka, they'll be very, very focused on their children, like beyond focused. What their children doing, always keeping a security tap on them, because Mars is a security officer, police officer, IPS officer. So it has to keep its, eye on it. But on the other hand, because Mars is in the second, you will see that especially when this Mars becomes independent. Okay. And remember, Mars is in the second, right? So the Atmakaraka Mars, whose 8th aspect is going to be on the 9th house. So it shows due to the trouble to the father, this person has to take on certain responsibility. Especially when this person moves away, goes far away, that's when really it brings about strong challenges in the life of the father. Okay. And so even if this Mars becomes independent, it has to also, again, take care of the obligations of the family. Mars here, because its 7th aspect is going to be on the 8th house as the Atmakaraka, they're going to have a very hard time trying to compromise with the in-laws. And they're going to have to. Because see, when the Atmakaraka is dealing with the challenge, most of the time they have to give up on that challenge. If Mars is not the Atmakaraka, then of course, you can easily, not compromise and win your battle. But here, it's Mars' obligation to compromise, because again, it's a learning lesson. And Mars in the second house will also show that the speed of money becomes very fast. Whatever comes in has to go somewhere, has to be spent somewhere. Now, of course, if let's say you do have Saturn there with Mars, Saturn can control Mars and its spending habits, especially if Saturn has a lower degree. because then Saturn is winning that particular conjunction war. Not really a war. War won't happen unless they are 1 degree apart, but Saturn will be able to stabilize most of that spending. But if let's say Jupiter and Mars are there, Mars is the Atmakaraka, then Jupiter like expanding that quality of Mars. It is telling Mars, yes, spend. And this is where a person has to be very, very mature about their handling of the money. Okay, usually usually in young age, they'll make a lot of mistakes, wanting to get things that are not a need, but more of a want. Okay, more of a want. So this is where they have to kind of learn these lessons. Okay. The other thing, this Mars will also be actually, as the Atmakaraka, becomes quite protective of their education. Like they will always try to make sure that their education is not being challenged, is not going into some obstacle or hurdle. Okay. Mars as the Atmakaraka, one of the other biggest lessons this person has to learn is counter offense in their speech. Because this particular Mars, when they have to get into some kind of a talk, argument, negotiations, Mars cannot control itself. And especially Mars will speak the truth. That's the problem. And with Atmakaraka, it actually becomes a bigger problem. Mars wants to say exactly how it is. It is raw. It doesn't have any shell on top of it. Like let's say Venus has a very beautiful shell. It knows when to say, what to say something to get what it wants. Moon will also do that. Sun and Mars will have a hard time because it's like the sun, who's the authority, the king. They just say what is said and people better follow it. And especially in common life, it doesn't work that way because not everybody's a king. Not everybody is at that status. So Mars, with this commanding nature, usually will lose many a times in life. And not just like I'm talking about debates and conversations, but opportunities. Why? Because they just spoke the truth. Instead of playing office politics, they said right there and then to the boss, to the supervisor, to the coworker, what everybody's wishing to say, but can't say it because they know then that can affect their employment or they can affect their promotions. But this person's be like, this is what's happening. Look, I'm telling you, this is what's happening. So as the Atmakaraka, due to their rawness in their speech, opportunities do get lost. Okay. And one of the biggest things, the motivation behind this Mars, in order to complete its goals, in order to achieve its goal, achieve its success, they always want a secure home. That's the motivation of this Mars. They're always focused on, when will I have my own home? When will I have my own property? That's their motivation. Motivation is to give perhaps their mother a secure place to live. Now I'm saying perhaps because we don't know how the individual relationship will be with their mother. Maybe they didn't have a mother. Maybe their mother left them. Maybe just really big fights with the mother throughout life. So we can't really say that, but I'm saying that motivation is towards the 4th house. Motivation is actually towards wanting to at one point have a nice machine that they can drive. Because again, car is what? Car is Venus, but it's also Mars because it's a machine. Okay. You can also, it's Saturn because it's run with petroleum, but also now it's electricity. So again, becomes Mars. So that Mars will also be there. And also you got to understand Mars naturally will always affect the 10th place from itself. Now we can call it the aspect, but of course it has never been given in the classical literature that we all know of, but Mars affects the 10th from itself for sure. So here Mars will be very proactive towards earning their gains, making the right social circles, network circles. But especially because Mars is the Atmakaraka, they will lose social circles, the important ones. Why? Where's Mars sitting? 2nd house. For their speech, okay? for their speaking ability, they will lose. Because again, the 10th aspect, the 10th place from Mars becomes where Mars is exalted. So Mars is going to exert most of its energy 10th from itself. This is why. And also, one has to be very careful because such a Mars can also get scammed or cheated in money, inheritance. Okay, and if that happens, just know it's not because of those people who refuse to give you your inheritance, parents, siblings, whoever. It is your own karma that does that. So don't try to fight for it. And even if you fight for it, you lose, just quietly walk away. No need to hold any grudges. That's the whole point of Jyotish. That's the whole point of astrology. If something has happened, it's not like the God and universe hates you. It's not like these people who are in front of you as your relatives, they hate you. No, they're all playing a scripted part in your play. So whether you're the antagonist or protagonist, that's besides the point. You're playing your role and everybody else is becoming a support role for you and your chart. And Atmakaraka Mars, if it's in a good condition, can be very, very disciplined towards their dietary restrictions. Okay? But if the Mars is, not under the best of influence, then yes, the diet will be all over the place. Okay? Usually such a person will love eating like spicy food, non-veg food, especially fried foods. Mars is fried foods. And especially if you have, let's say, Rahu with Mars, then they love eating like fried chicken, junk food. That's what they love. So you have to see how Mars is and who is Mars with and what sign and dignity is placed in. Okay? So this was my analysis of Mars in the second house as your Atmakaraka. Get new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss this type of videos. And remember, my Scorpio blank chart predictions is published on Maghavit Astrology Academy. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.